So, welcome everyone. So, this is Al-Musaafir 3.0 workshop, and today we'll be talking about the Erasmus Mundus Scholarship, to be led by Bro Lukman Bamigbade. So, Bro Lukman, you can get started.
Okay, thank you. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Can we all see my screen, please? Can somebody react to this or say something?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I welcome you all to this workshop today. And as introduced by the moderator, I am Lukman Bamigbade. I got the Erasmus Mundus Scholarship in 2022, which I finished my program in 2024. And today I'll be discussing on winning the Erasmus Mundus Scholarship. I believe some of us are familiar with the scholarship already, while some people are not. So I'm trying to give the nitty-gritty of the scholarships. What should you expect during the scholarship application, and how to prepare a standout application. So for this discussion, I'm going to base my webinar on this. I will discuss about the program in general and how to prepare a winning application. And then I'm going to show us a live demo on how to access the Erasmus catalog. And then I'm also going to share my experience with everyone here. And finally, we're going to have a question and answer segment. So for the scholarship, Erasmus Mundus is a 2 years program. It's a master's, it's a program-based master's program. Program based in the sense that it's not a specific course, a master's program where you have like a master's in chemistry, master's in physics. So this is a program-based master's program, and it is often coordinated by 2 or 3 universities, which we call a consortium. So so a program is coordinated at least by 2 universities and in 2 countries. So which means you have to juggle between these 2 countries and these 2 universities. And in this, they are going to have a coordinator among the institution. So in some instance, you might need to study in like 5 universities, and which one of these 5 universities will be the coordinating institution for this. And in some instance, it might just be 2, but the minimum is 2. And in order for you to prepare for this application, so you need to do some things which we are going to explain later on. An application often open between September to December. Some programs have their deadline to, I think, January, February, and even March as well. So as we all know that the aim of scholarship is to get some benefits. So for the benefits for this scholarship, if you got the program as a partner country, so partner countries, it's especially those countries outside EU, your total package is always around 49 or 52K, depending on whether you got a new package or old package. So for the old package, it's always around after your tuition, your participation, your health insurance, and the likes, to get like around 1,000 euro per month. But if you get a new funding, it's around 1,000 per month. So, and the requirement for this scholarship, it's just a bachelor's degree with 180 ECTs. So just like the unit that we use in Nigeria. So even if you are in 500 level, and then you already have 180 units as the course you've completed in university, and you can get a transcript for all these 180 units that you've done, you are eligible for this scholarship and application as well. So what are the documents required for this scholarship or a master's program? You often need your international passport. I've heard my friend often say, if you want to show that you are serious about scholarship application, international passport is a must for you. But if at the moment that you don't have international passports, you can still apply during the application process with your NIN, which is National Identity Card. But if you are opportune to get the scholarship, so before you resume, so you are expected to have your international passport. So by the application stage, they can still take this from you. Then you need to prepare your academic CV. Then you need to prepare your certificate or statement of result, depending on the case. Transcript, you need to also prepare your motivation or statement of purpose as the case. And then English proficiency test. This often depends on the program as well, but most of the programs do not require IELTS or TOEFL, so you can just get English proficiency from your from your schools or your department, as the case may be. And then you need 2 recommendations letter. Then you also need this proof of residence. So you can get this. I think I got mine from my local government. So you can also get that at court. I think in court it's like around 500 as at that time, but I'm not sure how much is it now. Are you with me?
Yes, we are with
Yes, so
you.
yes, so
Yes,
we
we're
are
with
with
you.
you.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Thank you. So then, how do we prepare a standout application for this scholarship? So, the first step in getting this scholarship is for you to select the right programs for you. So, I'm going to show you the catalog later on, but before we go into that, I need you to know that there are about 200 programs in the catalog, and for you to select the right program for you, it's your first step in getting this scholarship. If you can achieve this in the right way, I believe you have 20% already of getting the scholarship, because all other things that you'll be preparing depends on these programs. So then that's why it is necessary for you to know your strengths. What are your research experience? What technical skills have you developed over the years? What are your leadership experience, and so on and so forth. So on the catalog as well, so you'll be able to read about the programs, you read about the modules, learning outcomes, the requirements, the deadlines, and you can also check the consortium strength, the industry partners, and some of the thesis topics people have done in this program. So if these are the things that interest you, then you can try to put application for the program. And then also one important thing is you need to also confirm the funding for some of the programs, because they always get a funding for a period of 5 years. Let's say a program gets a funding in 2020. So now there's the funding would end in 2025. That means there will not be any application for 2026 cycles. So you also need to confirm this before you start preparing your application. And one of the hints I would say is try, if you are just applying for the first time and you think your profile is not that competitive enough, you can try to look out for all these newer programs. So they are often less competitive compared to the old programs. So what I'm going to do here is we are going to see a live demo of what the Erasmus catalog here. So to do this, I need everyone attention to be here, and this is going to be very interactive as much as possible. If there is anyone in the chat or that's familiar with the catalog and you are familiar with the scholarship as well, is there any program that you are hoping to apply? If you know the program already, can you drop in the chat so we can use that as a demo for us? Or you can just say it, then I will try to do that. So this is going to be very interactive. Can you hear me?
Yes, they are dropping the programs in the chat.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, I'm going to okay. Okay, so we have some couples of program here. I'm going to start with the first program, which is Hero Pop here. So yeah. I'm going to stop my screen for some minutes. Can you see my screen now?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, I'm going to drop the link in the chat as well. So at the end of the program, if you want to go into it, so you can also explore the Erasmus catalog. So this is the catalog that house all the 200 programs that I just mentioned. And for you to select the right programs, I believe you should try to identify your strength as well. The first thing for me is I will try to see, just like, I've mentioned that this program is not a specific course program. It's a program-based master's program. So, and one of the things that really matters in you selecting your right programs for you is, do you have experience on the program that you want to select? I mean, in terms of research or in terms of work experience. So if you have work experience or all research experience in any program that you want to select, this is going to go a long way in helping you to get the scholarship. So now you can select programs either by keywords, just like somebody that have known the programs that they want to apply, or you can also try to see your course of study. Okay, let's say for me now, I did chemistry and I want to know all the programs that I can apply for with chemistry. So I will just come here, type chemistry. You can see chemistry here, and then close here, and then you can search here. So these are all the programs that I can apply with my chemistry background. But remember, the fact that I am eligible for all these programs does not mean that I'll be able to get them. I said for you to know the right programs for you, you need to identify your strength. And you do this by either your research experience or work experience. So like if for you now you have experience with material synthesis, I believe this program will be good. And if you don't, just try to play around with this. For me, during my search for the scholarship, what I do is I did not put any filter here. I'll just take all the programs. You can see the catalog now house like 214 programs. So you can just play around with them. So you have more time with you. Go to the programs, read more about them. You can see the requirements, you can see the deadline and everything you can see. So for the program mentioned by one of the scholars, I'm going to check now. He said, so I said I'm going to take Hero Pop. So if I put the keyword here, you can see my screen, right? So, and then search. So this is the program. So here, you can see that this is a link. There is a link here. There's another link here. So now for you to know more about the program, click this first. So you can see that currently the program is still ongoing. So they just got a funding in 2024 and the last funding is 2030, which means they are still going to take applicants for 2026, 2006, 2007, 2027, 2028, and then 2029 and 2030. So this is still an ongoing a scholarship, so which you can apply it for. So this is what a summary about the program is. 8 European universities. Here, I mentioned consortium. So these are the list of the universities in the program. For this program, there are eight universities, and in which one of them is going to be the coordinating. Here, you can see the coordinator here equals the host. So this is them. So these are all the universities here. So, but for this link, let me go back first. Here, there are 2 links here. So this one now you can know whether the program still has funding or not. And it will help you to prepare your application because they still have funding, so they will take new students. So you can channel all your energy in preparing a strong application for this scholarship. So now if you want to know more about the requirements, about the aims and objectives of the program, so you come to this link. Yeah. We can see my screen, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So here you can see about the programs. So you can see the objectives of the programs, If you come here as well, you read more about the structure and the curriculum, the integration module, the host university, the directors, and here, this is where you're going to see the application and admission requirement. So if you click on this admission requirement here, so you can see it's a 2-year full multidisciplinary programs, and this is the 180 ECT I mentioned the other time. So it's opens to a varied background, health-related disciplines, medicine, pharmacy, biology, nursing, social sciences, and business administration. To be eligible, you need to have a bachelor's with 180, and then be proficient in English language. And then depending on the choosing part, because if you read more about the programs, some of them have different track, because this is like 8 universities coming together. So maybe it's going to be 2, 3, 4, something like that. And some of them require Spanish, French. So for somebody from Nigeria, it's you can try to be proficient in the language suitable for choosing part. English, so there is one English. So you can just focus on this one, English. But if you want to go for this track, so it's going to be English for Spanish. So if you want to go with this, it's going to be English plus French. And if you want to go for the third track, it's going to be Spanish, English, and French. And then you need to have a copies of all your diploma, certificate, language, and the likes. So that is that about the Erasmus catalog. Is that clear now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you. So I'm going to continue with my presentation now. Yeah. So we've known how to select the right program for us. Just know your strength, and then with your strength, you can get the right application. So, and then we also take a look at the live demo, where we see where the program is being housed and all the programs there. You can play around with this. You can try to check all the 214 programs, and then yeah, you can make your application. So now, how do you prepare a strong application for this scholarship? So in order for you to prepare a strong application for this, so I call this the so this is the hint in getting the scholarship. First, after you select the right program that you want to apply for, you need to write a very competitive CV. And I believe, I'm very sure by now, everyone here must known how to write a very competitive academic CV, because if you join our webinar yesterday, so where we had a session on how to write a CV, academic CV, and also how to write an SOP. So by now, I believe or I expected everyone here to know how to write a very competitive CV. But in this case for Erasmus, it is often recommended for you to prepare your CV in Europass format. I'm going to show us how does an Europass format looks like in the next slide. But for now, just need to take note that for any application in Erasmus, you need to have an Europass format CV. And for each of the programs that you are applying for, you need to have a very distinct CV for each of them. So let's say for me, I'm trying to apply for like 30 programs. That means I need to prepare a 30 different CV. I mean, different in the sense that maybe it's just going to be your professional summary that will be different. Your experience is the same, you cannot change that. Your education is the same, you cannot change that. And then all of that information that you cannot change. But in your professional summary, you need to make sure that everything that you put there relates to the program that you want to use the CV for. Do you get that? So, and also you need to prepare a very captivating motivation letter. So by now, I expected you guys to know how to write SOP, which is statement of purpose. It's the same as motivation letter as well. But it's just as often in Erasmus, sometimes a program might not require you to write a motivation letter. They will have a motivation question. I have an example which I'm going to show later on. And also you need to prepare a powerful recommendation letter. You know, Erasmus is one of the most competitive master's program in the world, and it's everybody in the whole world, every student, they are trying to look for this scholarship. So you need to make sure that each and every document that you'll be submitting, especially those that you have influence on, I mean your CV, You still have influence on your CV. You still have influence on your motivation letter. But in terms of your certificate, you already graduated, so there's nothing you can do on that. In terms of your transcript, you already graduated, there's nothing you can do on that. So you can just let that be. But for the document that you have influence on, you can try your best to make it the best so that it will help you in getting the scholarship. And also, if you prepare the document, you need to review. And also, if at the end of the day you submit your application, some programs do call for interview, some program call for assessment. I know of a program like Biofarm, they have assessment, not interview per se. So you are going to write an assessment. I think it's online based assessment. It comprises of English, physics, chemistry, and the likes. So you need to write this and then pass before you move to the next stage. And in some programs, there is no any interview, there is no any assessment. You just need to submit a very strong application, because for this scholarship, once you submit the application, it covers both for your admission and also for the scholarship. So, and all of this depends on you selecting the right programs, because now if I don't have the right programs, my experience does not relate to the program that I'm trying to apply for. How am I going to prepare a very competitive CV? Or am I going to prepare a very captivating motivation letter? And how does my recommendation speak well for me in this instance? So, and if you are opportune to get to the interview stage, one of the hack that I'm going to recommend for you is check up Emma Nigeria on Facebook. We have a very strong Facebook page here, which is Erasmus Mundus Association Nigeria. So they help people with interview. In fact, we even reviewed documents as well during the application process. Just be on the lookout for this page on Facebook if you are really interested in Erasmus, and I'm sure you will find it interesting. And during my application process, one thing I do as well is, because if you check the MM page, they have all the profile of every Nigeria that have won this scholarship. So you can try to read their profile on the page, know what the applicant did differently, know the kind of profile he has, and then you can also try to mirror this. But now it's very, very competitive, I must say, but still, you can still try to do your best. So having said that, um, I'm going to give us some hints on how to prepare our Europa CV. I believe by now, everyone must have known how to write an academic CV, right? I need reactions, please.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Um, Habib, I believe you were at the webinar yesterday, right?
Yes, I was.
Yeah, okay. So now you should know how to write a very competitive academic CV. But in terms of Erasmus, we use Europass. So I'm going to show you my own Europass CV so that you see how it looks like. And then you can try to, I will share the link as well in the chat so that you can also take a look as well. So let me see. Yeah. Can you see my screen?
Not yet. We are
Yes,
still
sir.
seeing the slide.
Ah, okay. I think I heard somebody said yes. Can you see the Hero Pass CV? Create your Hero Pass CV. Can you see it?
No, we are
No.
still seeing the slide.
Oh, okay. So I'm going to share the link first. This is the link. And also, I'm going to share my screen now. Can you see it now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is the front page of the link I sent to you. You can see the best know create your Europa CV. So you can do everything that you want to do on your CV here and everything. But the first thing you need to do is you need to create a profile here. So for me, I already have a profile here. That's why it's like this. But I will try to log out first, and then we can see how it looks like. Let me see if I can log out now. No. Okay. Okay, this is logout. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can see.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I'll go back to the link again. So this is the link again. So this is the link. So for you to create a profile, you need to come here to log into HeroPass here. So here now, if you don't have a profile before, for you it will be different. So you'll be required to create a profile, create your password and the likes. So once you do that, you need to sign in. So once you have your username and then your password, so you are going to sign in here, and you are going to use the QR code. I'm going to do that. Just one moment. Yeah. Yeah. Can you see my screen?
Yes,
Yes,
we can
sir.
see.
Yeah. So this is my profile on the Hero Pass. You know, you need to put in your name. My full name is Lukman Adetuji Bamimbade. You need to put your language. You can also edit this. You can edit this. Just here, just put in your first name and then your last name and then your professional summary. Don't forget, I said you can play around with this for each of the program that you're trying to apply for. Like for me now, so it's very obvious that I'm trying to use this for a water treatment technology. I'm trying to apply it for a position in water treatment technology. So I was just like an outstanding and motivated early career researcher with all this blah blah blah. Then I put my all my details and everything, and then you can save here. So that's for your profile. So you're going to see it like this. If you have all your details filled, and then you can come to your education, put all your education details there, and then all your class of degree and everything, you can put everything here as well. And when it comes to your work experience, if you have work experience, please kindly list them here. Kindly list them here. And if you don't, your research experience counts as work experience as well. Please list them here. Your industrial attachment, they are very, very important as well. And if you are an engineering student as well, all your CWEP or CWES and everything that you are doing, please make sure it's documented and you also listed them here. So you can try to put your experience here, you know, put your all your experience here. And for Erasmus, teaching experience is not really important, but if you have it, so you can hire them, so it doesn't remove anything. And for engineering students as well, project is very, very important. So you need to make sure your project is documented. And for people in mechanical, chemical, electrical, please make sure you have your project documented. If you can open a GIT hub and then just add the link here, so it's possible you can add them here so that they're able to see what you've done and how you've done it. So you can put, if you have honors and award, please add them here. So, and in terms of skills, so here it's inbuilt. You can just select them, and language as well. So you need to also select your proficiency. So just play around with this. So this. So if everything is well satisfied, you've added all your profile and everything, then you can go ahead to create your CV. So for me, here, if you come here now, more actions here, you can see create your CV. So you just click here I'm coming. Yeah. So here, I think somewhere around this place, is it my library? Okay, so these are the list of CV that I've created. Okay, here. So you go back to my Hero Pass here. So then you see create a CV. I'm coming. Yeah. So from there, you can either start from your profile. So if you are just starting out, so I recommend you start from your profile as well. If you click from your profile, you can select which section of your profile do you want to appear on your CV and in what format as well. So let's just wait for this. So here now I have my this is one format. I don't think this is, I don't like this. So I can exit this without saving. Yeah. Uh, so which one is this? Let me see. Yeah. So you can do this. No, I don't want to resume. I want to start all over again. Yeah, this is what I'm looking for. So here, I think there is a place where you can edit and which of your program profile do you want to show? Okay, all of this. If I want this to show, then here. So I would recommend you should not put your picture on the CV. Just um um unselect this and every other information that you want to unselect on your profile. So you can do that. So once that is done, you can click next. So do you want to edit? No, thanks. And then you can see all the formats that they want. You can play around with this. You can have different CV for different formats. You can do this. You can also do this, do this, do this, and see which one is the best. And if you select, let's say I selected this now, and then I can proceed. So yeah. So here now you just need to put in your name and then your CV, then you can download. So that's just that about the Europass the CV. At this moment, if you have any question on the CV and also the catalog, before I continue, I would like to hear from you. So I'm going to continue to share my, yeah. Any question on the CV and also the catalog that we discussed? Um, Adegoke Abdulkoyum. Yeah, can you unmute yourself and your question, please?
All right, thank you, sir.
Yeah.
From the CV, it talked about strong recommendation.
Yeah.
So I want to ask, since this is not dependent on us, we probably ask the professor or the supervisor to ask to write the recommendation letter for us.
Yeah.
So how do we convince them that we need a very strong recommendation for the Erasmus scholarship? And secondly,
Yeah.
while you were talking about research experience and project experience, you said engineering students can have separate project experience. So I want to ask, what's the difference between research experience and project experience? Because in engineering, everything we do
Yeah.
is hands-on. So it's not that we are working in lab performing any particular research. So it is hands-on. So our research experience can also count as project experience. So I want to know, is there any difference between? Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so for your first question about the recommendation, um, in Erasmus, unlike the US application, so each of the applicants has to be the one to upload your recommendation letter on the application portal. Do you get that? Adegoke Abdikoyum.
Yes, I can.
So you will be the one to upload the recommendation by yourself. So
Okay.
not like they will send the link to your professor, unlike the US application. So you just need to get it from your professors. Tell them you need a recommendation, very strong recommendation, but make sure it is tailored to the program that you want to apply it for. So before in Erasmus, you can only apply to 3 programs, but now the rule does not hold again. You can apply to as much program that you want to apply it for. So you just need to prepare your document, tell them the kind of program that you want to prepare for, you are trying to apply it for. I know of some professors that will ask you to draft your recommendation by yourself. If you have such kind of professor, just make sure it's well written and it speaks well of your profile, and then you can send it to them. They will review for you, and then they would add their signature to it. Then you can upload. Yeah. So in terms of research experience and project, so truly you are actually correct. It can be in terms of it can be project, it can be research experience, as the case may be as well. But you know, you might have a personal project that you did, something like you did for yourself. So it's not really something targeted towards your education or something, and it's related to the program. So I know if you are into simulation or something like that, so you might have done some simulations which you think it's something unique, or you are in computer science, you've designed projects, you've written a lot of Python codes, which was used for a specific purpose. So those are the things that counts as a project. Have I answered your question right now?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Any other question, please?
Hi, good afternoon, sir.
Yeah.
Sorry, I have a question, but I couldn't find my uh hands to signify, so that's why I had to unmute my mic. Am I permitted to proceed now?
Yeah. You have the floor.
So, just to follow up on the aspect of the computer science student that you mentioned just now.
Yeah.
So if I get that right, are you saying if someone has a project, let's say coding project that you've worked on, but not really research oriented, like not really research experience, but project experience. So is that saying the person has the high chance of also getting accepted into the program?
Um, is that all?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. So one thing we need to know is you know, this is an application. You understand? A lot of people are also applying for this kind of application as well. You have a bachelor's degree, they also have a bachelor's degree. You have research experience, people have better research experience than you. So we all try to tend to look for a way to make our application different in different kind of ways. So let's say for you now, you've worked on a project, something that relates to the that relates to the project, that relates to the program itself. Why not? It won't add anything, it won't remove anything from your profile. Just add it. You might not know what they would that's what it's going to impress the reviewer in your profile. Just add them to it. So it won't remove anything from your profile. You can do it. It doesn't have to be like something related to research per se, but it's a project that you've done and you think it's related to the program. Why not add it? You don't have anything to lose. I believe I've answered your question, right?
Yes, thank you so much.
Yeah. More question, please. Yes, Umar, you have the floor.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
Thank you very much. My question is regarding the CV. Is there like words, or I can say pages limit for the CV, or like a recommended target for the CV content so that it will not be bulky, or
Yeah,
is just to give as much as possible of what we have done related to the field of our choice? Thank you.
yeah. So if you still remember the catalog that we went in the first time, so I showed you there are
Yes,
two links. So the second link where we see the admission requirement, let me
yes,
see if I can still get it. Where's this? Um, I'm coming. Um, I will try to no. Yeah. So here, here.
yes,
So let's say here now for here. If you see here now, they said document to submit at application stage. So a
yes,
copy of a valid passport for non-European, valid passport or ID card for European students, and then curriculum fighter here. This is your CV, Europass format
yes,
preferred. So now they did not mention any kind of page limit. So you are
yes,
free to submit, but don't make it too bulky. I would say if you have a CV like I've seen a guy, a profile of a guy on Emma profile on Facebook. The guy said he has 7 pages of CV, though I would not recommend that. But I'm just saying it to you that people submit as much as 7 pages and they also get the scholarship. I'm not saying you should go and make 7 pages. Do you get me? Just make it to be
yes.
concise and very related to the program that you are trying to apply to. If no page limit is mentioned, so please just try to make it between 2 to 3 pages, and then you can submit that.
Thank you very much. I appreciate. Well
Yeah.
answered.
More question, please, before we continue. I'm trying to okay. I'm trying to check the chat as well. Ololade Onekoya, please, am I the only one not seeing what he is doing? Do you see my screen now? I'm just checking the chat now. Please, for some of us that missed the yesterday webinar, can we get the recording? Just check our YouTube channel. You can get the recording there. Also, yeah, how many pages I did for CV? I just answered the question now. Is there an age limit to this scholarship? No, there is no any age limit to this scholarship. There is no age limit to this. Any other question at this moment? Okay, then I can continue. So we just talked about the Europa CV now. Just like I mentioned, try to make it academic focused. And in Nigeria, we tend to put a lot of unnecessary information on the CV. As you can see from my own, you can remove them. You don't have to put your date of birth, your local government. You just need your address. If you are in Lagos, put Lagos, Nigeria there. If you are in Ibadan, put Ibadan. If you are in Kano, put Kano there. It doesn't really have to be number 25 Salami Street, something like that. You get? So, and then your project, your volunteering experience, leadership experience, please try to include it. If you have publication, that's good. Please try to put it. Poster presentation as well. If you've ever presented in any poster presentation, please add them. Your skills. So if you are in chemistry background, you know how to operate FTR and you can also interpret, please include them. You can operate GCMS, UV, NMR, any kind of analytical techniques. Please have them. If you've ever attended a conference, you have certificate or you don't have certificate, please have them. The membership as well, please. If you have a membership with all these you can just join for free. I remember during my application process, I was able to join ACS for free. I don't know how I did it then, but I did then. So I just put it on my CV. And since then, I haven't tried to join as a paid this in which I believe I'm going to do that. So I'm not saying you should not do that as well. So, but if you have what you are already looking for, and then you have the source to pay to be a paid member, why not just do it? It has more advantage than being a free member. So just try to do that, and that will be all on CV. So I'm not taking my time here to explain in details, because we had a seminar yesterday where we discussed on how to write a very competitive CV. And if I still start to take the section by section, I will just be regurgitating what has been said yesterday. So I think there is a message on the chat. I'm going to look at it. No. Where's this? 1 second. Okay. Can we add workshop attended? I'm not sure what the person meant by that, but you can just check our YouTube channel, and you should be able to get the recording too. Yeah. So we discussed about a competitive CV, and now I'm going to discuss about motivation letter. Another message as well. Can we get a sample of your own Europa CV? Yeah, you can. But I don't know how it's going to be like. I don't. So I'm going to put my email here. I don't like putting my CV on public space. So if you need the my Europass this thing, just send an email to me, and I'm going to forward mine and other colleagues that I have with me. So yeah, that is that about Europass CV. Then in terms of motivation letter or motivation question, it's similar to SOP, which we had the webinar yesterday, which was statement of purpose. But in this case, it is called motivation letter. The tone is usually the same thing. And even though you can start motivation letter in different ways, just like SOP as well. So one of the recommended approach in starting your motivation letter is to identify your problem statement. How are you going to do this? One thing I need you to know that any program on Erasmus Mundus, each of the program is targeted towards solving a particular problem or two or more problems. So you just need to go read more about the programs, and then you should be able to fish out what kind of program the problem is, what kind of problem the program is trying to solve. So if you find this problem, that is your problem statement, and you just need to put it in a very nice way on your CV. That's going to be your introductory paragraph on your motivation letter. So if you have a very nice introduction, then it's going to captivate the reviewer to continue to read your motivation letter. And then for the second and the third paragraph, so you just need to organize your professional experience, put it in a nice way. If you have research experience related to the program, say it. Your research, what did you do? What was the problem statement in your research? What did you do, and what was the result that you were able to get from your research? Put it there as well. And then if you have leadership experience and other kind of experience related to the program, you can put it in your second and third paragraph. And if you want to write, because here in Erasmus, you need to show why you are applying to the programs. So you can read more about the program's aims and objectives to do this. So you can read more about their aims and objectives, and by doing this, so you will find a nice way of writing this. I just got a question now. Can somebody with a master's degree apply, or is it only for bachelors? No, it's not restricted to a bachelor's alone. Somebody with a master's degree can also apply. Thank you. So for this, so for your fourth paragraph on your motivation letter, you can also try to read more about aims and objectives of the program, and then you can put it here. And then for your final paragraph, or depending on your approach to the motivation letter, you can try to structure your goals or career goals in relation to the programs. So what would be your advantage if you attend the program? So something like that, you can try to put it in your final paragraph, and just make it concise, and then 1 to 2 pages. So when you are writing a motivation letter, um, I know your first draft is not your best version yet. Just continue to review it, to review it, to review it. Personally, what I do is, if I want to apply to any program like that, so I try to read more about the program, check the website, check the catalog, and then start with my motivation letter. So at the moment that I'm writing my motivation letter, I try to connect with alumni of this program or the current student on LinkedIn. So I just connect with them, and I try to send them a message that I am Lukman Bamimbade, and I'm an applicant for this program, and I'm in the process of writing my motivation letter. Could you please help me to review it? Just simple message like this. Some people will respond, some people will not, but you don't need everybody to respond. You just need people that will be able to take a look on your document, and that's what matters. Just try to do this. If you can identify 3 to 4 people in each program that you want to apply for, maybe one person reply and he help you to review. That's better. And then continue to review till you submit your application. So that is that about motivation letter. And in terms of motivation question, because Erasmus, it depends on the program. Some people would require you to write a motivation letter. Some people will have a motivation question. In my program, what we have is a motivation question, and this is a sample of motivation question that we have in my program. So why are you applying for this particular program? But be mindful of this word limit, 600 characters. That's the maximum you need to write. And what are the specific challenges, issues, or problems in your country, region, or worldwide that you plan to address once you have completed this program? This is what I meant by your research statement, by your problem statement. So if you read more about the program, you get the problem they are trying to solve with that program, and that becomes your own problem statement. You just need to relate to your home country, your regions, and then you have your problem statement. Maximum of 1,000 characters for this kind of program. And then how would this program enable you to address above mentioned challenges, issues, or problems? If you remembered correctly, for the Hero Pop, we went to a section where we saw the curriculum and everything. You can see the curriculum of each program on their website and what you are going to learn from each of the module or courses. So from there, you should be able to structure how will this program enable you to address above mentioned challenges or problems. And then what are your most relevant qualification and experience? So those are your experience that we've been talking about all this while. So just try to put it in a nice way, and then please don't forget your word limit, 1,000 characters. And then where do you see yourself 5 years after you have graduated? That's like your career goal. So if you see this now, this is what the program posted on the application portal. So this is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's just like what I mentioned here. Identify your problem statement, organize your professional experience. Your professional experience is talking about what are your most relevant qualification and experience here, and then read more about the programs and aims and objectives. So if you read more, you can use that to answer why are you applying for this particular program. They will mention what are the things that entice you to the program. Is it because of it has thesis? Is it because it has industrial internship? Is it because the program it will help you and the likes? So that's that. We have somebody raising his hand. So Abdullah Aziz, can you go ahead?
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Thanks for the session. Really appreciate it. God bless you.
Yeah,
So while I was creating my Europass profile,
yeah,
I'm filling my education and training section,
yeah,
and under the add field of study, it asks for my university website, but
yeah.
there was a particular section in that space which asks for level in EQF, which I don't understand.
Yeah, it's not compulsory that you fill everything on there. Just fill
Okay,
what you have. Just you don't have to fill everything.
thank you, sir.
Yeah. So that is that on how to draft a very compelling and captivating motivation letter. And with this, I'm going to conclude my presentation days. Sorry. Lastly, I told you that I'm going to share my experience with you. So I'm going to hear from Shoaib first, and then I'm going to share my experience. Shoaib, you have the floor.
All right, thank you so much. I don't actually know if I actually missed the part. I want to ask about when a recommendation letter stated on one page. So I don't know if we can, and you can have a very much thing to write in that case. So probably if we can increase the margin uh, of such type of motivation letter. Then also another question span through where in motivation yesterday that we had session on the SOP.
Yeah.
So we were told to give some insights about probably if we have checked through the program and we've seen professor's profile that interest us, probably we can mention them. But in case of Erasmus, we have been advised to mention some of the things like the consortium, like the specialization or the modules in the course, whereby we can leverage on our undergrad to say it is going to advance us in this. So it is going to kind of be too wordy around the um, paragraphs towards the end. So I don't know if you can talk about the inclusion and exclusion of such aspects. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Um, okay. Remind me the first question, please. I should be writing this.
The motivation letter, if it's stated one page, so I want to know if we can
Okay,
actually
okay. Recommendation letter, right?
motivation letter.
I said 1 to 2
It will
pages.
one no, like I mean, if it is stated in the program
Ah,
that's just one page
yeah, yeah,
recommendation letter, like
yeah,
can
yeah.
we increase the margin to accommodate more words? In this in the program, the number of words was not stated there. It was only stated as one page motivation letter.
No, you cannot increase the margin. Just keep it as A4. So you just need to be very concise as possible. If you write your first draft, it might be much, but if you continue to review them, you see a lot of redundant documents, words. So you can just try to summarize each of your experience. So you need to stick to that one page and don't increase the margin. So that is that about that motivation. And in terms of your motivation as well, where you mentioned that in terms of US, that's true. You need to mention the professors that you would like to work with. But in the case of Erasmus, it's not. So what you need to do is you need to look at the aims and objective of the programs and what are the things that entice you. So that's why I said read about the program's aim and objectives. And then what are the things, good things about the program. So you can use this to show your motivation in the program as well. So you talk about a lot of things. That's why I mentioned in the case of maybe they have industrial internship. That's a good thing about the program. So you can mention this. You can also mention maybe one of the universities is uh is one of the universities among the first 100, which I would not recommend you to put that. Just stick to the program itself, not each of the university in the program. Anything that you want to put on your motivation letter, let it be on the program itself and not each of the university itself. Have I answered your question?
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
I still have. At the cost of submitting your application, does statement of result count or it must be? No, because during my own time of applying, I also submitted with my SOR or NOR. I don't have my certificate then, and I got the scholarship. In fact, if there is anyone from Lautech here, so I used my the result that we collect each at the end of each semester. That's what I use for the scholarship. I don't have my official transcript from the school then. So don't let all these things stop you from submitting that application. So if you have that, you can use that to apply. If your leadership skills related to what I'm applying, no, no, no. Any kind of leadership skills that you have, just put it there. It doesn't necessarily have to be related to the program that you're applying. Shuaib, do you have more questions? I still see your hand raised. Any question? Any more question? Okay, I see the chat.
Can I proceed?
Yes.
So this one is like a personal question. I don't know if I
Okay.
missed it because I joined a bit late. So it's just about you. What's your discipline, and do you have research experience during your own time of application then? Thank you.
Okay. I'm going to, my next slide is about my experience. I'm going to share my experience with you. So just let's get into that. But before that, we have a question from Sister Aisha. Assalamu alaikum, sir. Applying while still an undergraduate, does it have a prospect? Yes, it does. If you want to apply, I recommend you should apply it while you are in your second semester 500 level or 400 level, as the case may be. So I believe at that time you already completed the 180 ECT, because I remembered then, because for me, I did pure and applied chemistry from Lautech. And before I graduated, I did like 190 units. So I think at my second semester, I already meet the requirement to apply. So you can also do this. And I remember there was a case of a lady from UNN during my set. She got the scholarship during our second 500 level second semester, and we traveled together. So we traveled, she went to Vienna, yeah. And when it is time for them to write the exam for the second semester, she came from Europe to Nigeria to write the exam. And after the exam, she came back to the program. So it doesn't stop you. People are doing it, and you can also do it as well. So Umar, can you go ahead now?
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you
Walaikum
very
salam.
much for the presentation. My question is regarding certain disciplines in which our transcript does not take any credit units or CGPA in it. So like when applying, how can we like try to explain or cover that gaps based on the way the transcript is structured from the institutions?
What school is that? I don't think I've ever seen a school in Nigeria where you don't have a grade or ECT mentioned on your transcript. What school is that?
Well, there is like medicine, pharmacy, and other stuff. Medicine,
Oh,
that
okay.
is what my discipline, and that is what I know. So they
Okay.
don't usually state it on the transcript.
Okay. So for that, you need to have an additional document. So you can prepare a document explaining all your ECTs and also your grading in this document. So it's going to be an additional document aside from all your list of courses. And then this document will explain all these things that I mentioned, your ECT and also the grading scale. So you just need to attach this to your transcript. I did similar thing as well during my time of application, because the transcript I use, there is no any grading scale on it. So what I did is I tried to my mentor in the department. So I just prepared this document, and he helped me to sign this document. So with his signature, I was able to attach this to my transcript, and that's what I used to get the scholarship.
Thank you very much. I was thinking if someone like has a well evaluated transcript which has the grading and everything, can one attach it instead, or it cannot be used?
No. If you have the evaluated, you mean the WES evaluated or what?
Yes.
Yeah, you can use that instead. You can use that instead.
Okay, fine. Thank you very much. I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Yeah, you can create a section on your CV as online courses. So for the MOOCS, I actually forgot this, but Sister Aisha, thank you for reminding us about this. So the online courses. So if you know you want to apply for a program that you don't have much knowledge, please do this. Try to register for a lot of courses on Coursera. Try to do a lot. I've seen people, they did about 10 courses, online courses, just to meet up, and then you just attach them to your profile. Under your CV, you can create a section, online courses, so you can have them there. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for that, Sister Aisha. Okay. I just saw a question now. What happened? I'm coming. Yeah, I missed one question now. Sebastian is asking about NYC or something. Please, what advice will you give someone who is currently serving in the NYC program? I don't know. It depends on you. It depends on you, because for me, I actually got the scholarship during my service year as well. But I got the scholarship in April, and the reception is September. So you can still so I was able to meet up without forfeiting my NYC. But my colleagues from Nigeria, he just started NYC in January, and he got the scholarship in April. But we left Nigeria together at September. So he forfeited the NYC. It depends on what applies to you. You cannot defy the scholarship or admission in Erasmus. So once you get the scholarship, you just have to go, or you miss out on the opportunity. So if you are the type that value NYC above this, I believe you should know what to do, you know what to prioritize. Yeah. Any other question, please? Okay. So in the absence of that, I'm going to go to the final slides in my presentation.
Excuse me, sir. Before you go, please, can I ask a question?
Sure, go ahead.
All right. In a case where you are probably considering a switch in career, perhaps what you study is different from the work experience you have. Over the years, you've had experience that you believe that is your calling now. You have been doing well there. Then you want to consider what's called a program at
Yeah.
a certain time to have this formal and what's called structured training in your experience now, which you are doing your professional experience. How
Yeah.
much of stars do you think the person have with
Yeah.
this kind of
So
scholarship?
I'm going to use myself as a case study for you, because if you can see from my experience here, I did pure and applied chemistry in Nigeria. I did pure and applied chemistry in Nigeria. But during my thesis, I worked on, sorry, I worked on synthesis of chitosan nanocomposite for industrial wastewater treatment. So if you are the type that are familiar with this topic, you can see that two things are involved in this kind of project. First, I need to synthesize the material. And the second time, I also need to treat industrial wastewater as well. So that gives me two options while applying for scholarship application. I have experience in material synthesis, and I also have experience in water treatments generally. So during my time of application, so those are my strengths, not my course of study. Are you with me?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so those are my strengths. And that is why while I was looking for application, catalysis is if you're familiar with catalysis, it's all about material synthesis and the likes. So I really like this program. It's one of my the best program I loved in Erasmus. So I love the program. ECT as well. It's all about environmental wastewater treatment, toxicology, and the likes. So I also focus on this, and this is the program I got. So this one is environmental engineering and technology. It does not even relate to chemistry that I studied, but because chemistry is a central science, so I can basically function in any of the science program that I find myself. So this is basically an engineering program. So from chemistry, I transitioned to environmental technology and engineering. So, but because of my thesis, I was able to get this. Because this program, the focus is on wastewater treatment. And I have the experience from my thesis here. So that's why I was able to capitalize this experience on winning this application. Habib, do you get that now?
Yeah, perfectly. What I
Yeah,
meant to say is that, for example, this you just mentioned still show that you did both of them while you were in the university, meaning
yeah,
there is a very strict transition between what you study and how it allows you to do a research in that's what you want to do now. What I'm
yeah,
saying is that, for example, someone studied geography while they were in school, they
yeah,
even if they have the first class, they did some courses in demography, population geography, and the like. But they are
yeah.
probably interested. They have been working in community and environmental health.
Okay.
Now they want to take a master's degree in such, maybe
Yeah.
community health, population health, or public health now. So, what do you think they stand a chance, given that they have a good academic background and wealth of experience in that field? Do you think they stand
Yes.
a chance in competing with people who actually study public health and what in that kind of skeleton?
Yes. Yes. They do. Because I will refer you back to my presentation here. If you see my presentation here, there's a place I mentioned about know your strength here. Know your strength here. And most of the time in Erasmus, your strength is not your course of degree. It's either your research experience or work experience. So they value that over your education experience. Though if you have education experience, though the some of the requirements, so in the ranking, so you get a point for having a good grade in your education as well. But they value your research and work experience more. Have I explained myself now? Abib, do you get that?
Yeah, completely. I got it now. Thank
you
you so
you
much.
have a perfect chance because you have a working experience in the field already. So you just need to make other application, like show this strength in your motivation and also in your CV. That's what you need to do.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. um so I think I've already talked about my experience as well. I wanted to share with you, but the question led us to that. I did pure and applied chemistry while in Nigeria at Ado Akintola University of Technology, and during my final year, I worked on synthesis of titration nanocomposite for industrial wastewater treatments. So this is the changing point for me. Because of this project, I was able to have leverage on this because I could go into material synthesis. I could also go into water treatment. And one thing that really helped me here as well is for this project, I actually use a real wastewater treatment. So, most of the research are being conducted. Some people tend to use a simulated wastewater. But for me, I went to the company itself, get the wastewater, and tested my materials on this kind of water. And as Allah will have it, I was able to get a scholarship. So that is just about my experience. And so let's go into Q&A. If you have more questions, we are here to provide an answer. And Sister Mariam, are you still here?
Excuse me, Brother Lukman.
Yeah,
Okay, I remember you talked about Coursera and some other open online courses.
yeah,
In a case where you probably, for example, like myself now, we have been trying to do some professional development course just to prove that you have a what's called the basic knowledge of what you're doing, given that you have a different background.
yeah,
Now, but you don't have certificate for them. Maybe some of these courses you have to pay to get certificate, but you have taken them. but you don't have the certificate. You are done with the course. You have taken what. Do you
Yeah.
think you can list them in your CV, or
No,
since you cannot provide the certificate, you just forget about it?
no, you can get the certificate from Coursera. You don't have to pay. You can apply it for financial aid. In any of the courses that you want to take in Coursera, you can get financial aid. Just check most of the courses do have financial aid. You just need to apply for the financial aid. I think it takes is it 2 weeks, and then you get. For me, that's what I use for most of the courses that I did in Coursera. I applied for the financial aid, and then I got the financial aid, and I did the course, pass, and then I get my certificate.
All right, thank you.
Yeah. So I'm going to stop sharing so we can talk more. Yeah. Um, does stronger CGPA really matters in Erasmus? It does. It does. It goes a long way, but that's not the only thing that help you to win the scholarship. You need to show the research experience, work experience, and also to show leadership and the likes. But it's not the only thing that helps you to get the scholarship. Yeah. Latifa.
Alaikum salam.
Wa alaikum salam.
So yeah, I wanted to ask a question regarding the recommendation letter because when you were listing the requirements, you stated two recommendation letter. So I
Yeah.
wanted to ask if it was just majorly academic recommendation letter or academic or professional.
Yeah. Okay. For Erasmus, you can submit professional recommendation as well, but don't make it the two. You can do one academic recommendation and one professional. This if you have the work experience, you can do it. But if you don't have the work experience, use a professor for the two.
Now, I also have another question, yes, sir.
Yeah.
So, about the MOOC,
Yeah.
I would like to confirm courses like let's say courses that teach programming, like coding, etc., like that. Can they be
Yeah.
considered as MOOC as well during application?
Do you mean like yeah, it's good. You learn Python. You mean something like a training on Python, a courses on Python, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. You can add them. In fact, for engineering, I don't know if how familiar with you guys are with MATLAB. MATLAB is very, very important. If you don't know how to use it, please learn to use it. I remember doing a course in my first semester here, and everything, the course, we have a theory class on the course, we have the practical class on the course, and even the exam, everything is being written on MATLAB. You write the code by yourself, you prepare your Simulink, and then you run your code. So your graph, you are going to um take a screenshot of your graph and send to the professor. That's your answer. So please try to develop yourself. And if you can also, all these citation manager as well, like Mendeley, EndNote, and the likes, please try to learn them as well. They are going to hate you because if you get here and you see your colleagues using it, and for you it's like, this is my first time of hearing about this. But we can do
Thank
better.
you so much.
Yeah. And post Erasmus, people are really doing well. Some people are most of our guys are doing PhD. Some of are working. So some people are doing MBA. So it depends on what you want. So and don't worry, the benefit, the money, it's enough to sustain you in Europe, and you still have some savings to send back to Nigeria as well. Yeah, sure. Money is important. I know it's in as long as we are trying to improve on ourselves, we need the money as well. We need the money.
Oh, Assalamualaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
I dropped a message on the chat. I don't know if you saw it, but let me just ask.
Which one?
I was asking that is it advisable that we hyperlink our MOC certificates on our CV?
Yeah,
And you know
yeah,
when you
yeah,
hyperlink it, it is that blue color. Is it advisable that we leave
yeah,
it on that blue
yeah,
color?
yeah, yeah. Just put it on your drive and then you put the link there. Or you can just copy the link from the Coursera itself and put it on your CV. That's what I do as well.
All right. Thank you very much.
Yeah, yeah. The moderator, is she still here? Let me see. Sister Mariam, are you still here? Okay, while waiting for her, Ajibike, you can go on. Ajibike, unmute yourself and yeah.
Assalamualaikum.
Walaikum salam.
Well, my question is also similar with that of the last person. So my question is that can we also hyperlink on our statements, like on our motivation letter?
What do you want to hyperlink?
Let's say you're trying to like let's say you participated in a program, or perhaps you organize an event or something that related that you want to like you're putting on your motivation. So can you hyperlink? Let's say a blog, it was like a blog actually posted it, or it's on a website, or there's an award for it. Can you hyperlink it on your motivation letter?
Yeah, you can do that. I've seen people doing that as well. You can do that, especially if you are all these social sciences, governance, policy, and the likes, and you did some NGO activities. I will recommend that you put it. If you have more questions, I can still spare some minutes. Yeah, Adekunle. Adekunle, you can go ahead.
Yeah, good
Adekunle.
afternoon, sir.
Yeah.
Assalamu
Yeah.
alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
Please, thanks very much for the class. I had HND in electrical engineering, HND in electrical engineering. I'm currently doing my BSc, and that is 3 years. And in university, normally engineering is 5 years course. I want to ask regarding my CV, am I to add the HND details as well, my CV?
Yeah, put all your education there.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So from the information reaching me from the moderator, the next webinar is going to start at 4. So we still have like 30 minutes. So if you have more questions, you can ask. What are the English language proficiency requirements for applicants? You know, there is English language proficiency documents you can get from your school, your department. So most of the programs do require this. You can check. And if your program require IETLS, which in most of the Erasmus, it's not common, but you need to verify this. You go into the catalog, check the website of your program, and then check the requirement. If it requires English proficiency, you can put, you can get from your school. And yeah, for most Nigeria, it's not required, so you don't have to worry about that. But for me, My program does not require English proficiency documents because I'm from Nigeria, but still I also submitted it. Is it compulsory to put professional summary? For your Erasmus, yeah, I think it's yeah, you should put. Why you don't want to put it? Are you scared of writing? I don't have the certificate from my internship. It has been 10 years, and the people I worked no longer work there. Why do you need the certificate? You can just put it on your experience, work experience. Put your roles, your details there, and that's what you need. That's what you need. You don't have to put the certificate there. Another question? So in the absence of no question, thank you so much for attending this session. You can either wait till 4 for the next webinar, or you can go and log in back when it is time. All right.
Thank you, sir. Jazakumullah khairan. Really appreciate it.
And to see you later.
Now, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Mene a ciki? Banda wannan abubuwan me ake yi a wurin dama?
Son no friends. Now, I was expecting the feedback. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Walaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
Good. I was I was actually carried away. I was thinking maybe everywhere is full with AI because
No,
I was
people are
surprised to
here now.
see.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Yeah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh. Welcome again to this to this workshop, another day to learn one or two things. So let me share my screen before I proceed with what we have to discuss today, inshallah. Yeah, so my name is Martin Atilola. I am currently a PhD student at the State University of New York at Buffalo, in the United States of America. So I'm pursuing electrical engineering. It's an honor to be here with you guys. So where we'll be guiding ourselves towards how the act of code milling is done and how can we navigate our ways through code milling. Yeah. So to start with, these are the contents that we'll be dealing with. I don't know if the host is here, if they are recording or something. Just want to confirm before I proceed. Sorry, your subsequent sessions have been recorded, right?
Yes, they are pre-recorded. I think this one is on record.
It's on record? Or it's
Yeah, I can see recording icon.
Okay, good. Okay, thank you very much for that subtle feedback. Now, so I'll be guiding us towards how to search for school. I'm sure a lot of us here are not new to this process. This is not the first time we are hearing about grad school. Some of us must have even been on these USUs for the past 5 years, 4 years, 3 years. So I believe that consistency is key. So the more you continue moving, one day, that your 1 year will surely be actualized. So inshallah, we'll guide ourselves through one or two things today to see if you'll be able to learn one thing or the other to add to what you already have before. So we'll guide ourselves to how can we identify schools and then potential instructor, or you call it principal investigator. And then we'll introduce ourselves to code milling. Then, so how do we know if a professor have funding? And what are the etiquettes of code milling? Then we'll just go through a case study of a breakdown of how code milling has been done using one of a code mill that I've sent before during that time when I was still searching for school. And then what are the possible response, the likely response that it is common when you send a code mill to professor. So we are going to look through all this and then we'll have some questions and then respond to those questions, inshallah. Yeah. When it comes to searching for school, one of the first thing and the most important aspect is you need to identify your research interest. It is very, very important to know the direction that you are going before you set out to move out of the house. So if you want to get something, you want to seek something, you need to understand the direction of where you are going, then it will be easy for you to navigate your way. So one of the most important things when it comes to searching for school or professor is you need to identify your research interests. So because there's no way you want to say you want to just pick up a professor without knowing where do you want to go. Even if you say that, okay, for instance, someone that studied electrical engineering. So if you are saying that, okay, because I study electrical engineering or I have a very good CGPA, maybe I have first class or thereabouts, then you just want to go into school session without knowing which aspect of electrical engineering do you want to pursue. So do you want to go into power system? Do you want to go into telecommunication? Do you want to go into machine? Do you want to go into artificial intelligence or AI and so on and so forth? Even in different aspects of the field, you need to identify what is your niche in that area. Even if you are saying that you want to go into power system, do you want to go into power system optimization and control? Or do you want to go into AI and machine learning for power system and different aspects of power system as well? So you need to identify your research interest, which is the most important thing. So after you identify your research interest, the next thing is to search for school. And then basically we have two approaches for searching for school. I'm sure some of these websites that I listed here are not new to you guys. And then these two approaches are the most, let me say, the common approaches that we use in searching for school. The first approach is the top-down approach. Top-down approach means that this is when you search for school first, like from the top, and then from the school, you now navigate your way down to the professor of interest that you've already identified. So this is the common way that many people used to do. Like I find a school, maybe you find University at Buffalo, or maybe you find MIT, for instance. This is the school that you know. Then you now want to find a professor from that school that is doing something that you're interested in doing. So that's the first approach that is generally common. A lot of people do use this kind of approach. And then you can find schools from this website for ICU. By typing for ICU online, you can easily get to the website because it's one of the most how would I put it, easily navigated web university search website because it's able to break down universities based on their country, to the states, to different localities, and so on and so forth. So that it will be easy for you to navigate your way. If you are someone that is passionate about Europe, you can easily find schools in Europe using this website. If it is North American, using this website, and so on and so forth. Another most important aspect that you must take note of when searching for school is the list of R1 and R2 university in the United States. For instance, if someone has a niche that, okay, I want to focus on United States of America alone. So one of the things that you have to take note of is the R1 and R2 university. Because universities are categorized based on how impactful their research are. So R1 university are those universities that are known for their great research. That is, they have a lot of doctoral students, they are conducting a lot of research. In other terms, this kind of university have a lot of funding at their disposal. So if you are searching for school, you want to focus on these schools that are R1 universities because they have a lot of funding. And the chances of you getting funding in these schools is higher than you getting funding in R2 university. Although it comes with a trade-off of competition because a lot of people are targeting R1 university. So obviously you should know that the competition will also be high. So also there is QS Top University Ranking, another platform where you can get a list of schools based on how ranked they are. The higher the rank from 1 to 100, the 1,000 or thereabouts, the tougher the competition that you should be expecting. So one important takeaway from this particular approach is that you should focus mostly on R1 universities. So if you have a list of schools with you, just go to Wikipedia, go to Google, and then search for a list of R1 and R2 universities in the United States. So the first link you will see there is a Wikipedia link. Just go there and you see a list of what R1 university. So try to look at those schools that you've already identified and see if they are one of the R1 or R2 universities. So on the second approach, which is another approach that is not that common, some people do use it, so I used it when I was still searching for school, is the bottom-up approach. Bottom-up approach is you're starting from the bottom and then you are going up. What I mean by that is you're starting from knowing a professor, then you want to navigate your way to which school is the professor affiliated to. And this can only be done if you are relating it to searching professor through journal websites such as the Google Scholar or the IEEE, the Science Direct, and so on and so forth. So you first of all maybe you are doing this based on your research interests. Take for instance, someone that studies civil engineering that have a niche in transportation. So maybe you went to this Google Scholar and you search for transportation or AI in transportation, and then you now got some list of professors that are conducting research on AI in transportation, on applying AI to transportation system. You now find list of professors. From there, you will now navigate your way to, okay, what schools are these professors affiliated to? And that's another approach to search for professor. So these are the two approach. The first one is a top-down approach, and the second one is a bottom-up approach. So these are the ways to. So if you have a specific research interest, I've said that, which is the most important thing. So it is always good for you to be able to navigate your way through either of this way. Now, so what is code mailing? So as code mailing is in a graduate school, we used to call it code mailing, even though for me, I don't know the reason why they do call it code mailing. It was code and mailing. So it's just a way of sending mail to professor for them to be able to see the potential you have and then see a connection of interest in a connection or alignment in the research interest that you have and what the professor is doing. Basically, you want to showcase yourself. You want to try to rub the heads of the professor to let them know that, oh, you are a worthy candidate and what you currently have as skills is tantamount to what the professor is doing in their lab. So that's basically what a code mailing is. Some of us this is not new to a lot of us. I believe it's not new. And there are some things that we need to take note of when we are sending code mailing. So you should note that there is no one-size-fits-all approach when it comes to writing mail to professor. There is no way that this is a template that you must follow this template. If you don't follow this template, professor will not respond to you. No. So I've seen a code mail that is as short as just a chat that you are sending to someone, and then the person got a reply. And I've seen a code mail that is so detailed, and and the person did not get a reply. So it depends. It depends on different things, which some of us may not even know. Even me, I don't know. And I believe that if you have a outstanding code mail, a well-written code mail, so there is a chance that you may be responded to. Another thing that we should be able to live with is that we should know that it is normal not to get a reply. So I've seen someone that told me that they have sent up to more than 200 code mail in a particular admission session, and they did not get a single reply. It's normal. So getting a reply or not getting a reply is one of the hustle when it comes to code mailing. So I see a lot of people, especially people in engineering, they used to say that, oh, this professor is not used to reply. Oh, professor in this school is not used to reply to code mail. It's normal. And why is it like that? Because a lot of these professors actually they have a lot of things that they are doing. They receive a lot of mail in a day. So receiving a lot of mails, so it will be easy for some mails to just embed into the tons of mail that they receive. So they may not be able to even see your mail at all. But some professor, if you are strategic with the way and the timing that you send your mail, some professor will see your mail and they decide not to reply. I've seen a situation where a professor, a student sent a mail to a professor, and then he sent a mail to a professor, and the professor did not reply to his mail. Unknowingly, that professor that he sent a mail to forwarded his mail to another professor in another school. Sorry, Koya. Yeah. So the professor that he sent a code mail to did not reply to the person's mail, but he forwarded his mail to another professor in another school, telling that professor that this guy will suit your own lab more than he will suit my own lab. And besides, I don't have funding, and then this guy will be able to will work well with you. And that's how the person got into the United States, for instance. So it's normal for you not to get a reply. If you don't get a reply, don't see it as that's the end of the world. Just see it as we move. That's the slang we used to say then. So I send a mail to a professor. After 2 weeks, you send a follow-up email, and then you did not receive any response from the professor. Just move on and say that we move, and then move on to the next. So there are a lot of schools out there that you can send, a lot of professors out there that you can send code mail to. And then you should also note that responses from professor can be good. You can receive a very comfortable response that you will be like, wow, this is a very good response, and I'm confident that with this response I received from this professor, I will be admitted. I can also receive a mail from a response from a professor that will be very, very bad. Maybe that professor is in a bad mood or something. The professor will just say something like, your research interest does not match mine, I won't admit you, or something very, very tough than that. Another professor can be so harsh when the person is replying to your mail, and also another professor can send a very compelling response that you feel like if this professor have funding, there is high chance that the professor will admit me. So these are some of the responses that you will get. I'm sure some of us might have been experiencing this kind of responses in one way or the other. Now, when do we send code mail? How do we know that this is the right time for me to send code mail? The first one is through online adverts. You'll see a lot of publication adverts on Twitter, on LinkedIn, that the professor is looking for students in so research interest. These are the qualifications that is expected. Without that kind of advert, even though some people are of the opinion that online adverts are always very, very flooded, that it's not advisable for you to send a code mail to a professor that advertise on LinkedIn. But irrespective of the situation, you can be the person, the lucky person that the professor will respond to at the end of the day, or the professor will select at the end of the day. Still try your best to try to respond to the professor, or try to send a code mail to the professor. So if you see a publication or an advertisement of looking for a PhD student or MSc student online. Another one is maybe the professor did not publicize it, but on the professor website where you are trying to navigate searching for professor, you found something about we are still open to PhD students at any point, at any semester. So it shows that professor has a lot of funding and the professor is open or willing to accept students as fast as possible. So that's another way to know that, okay, this professor, this is the right time for me to send the code mail. Another one is maybe through general searching. We can send the code mail without even seeing any advertisement or without seeing anything from the professor website. You can just say, okay, I see that my research interest match what these people are doing in their lab. So let me try to send a code mail to the professor and see and try my luck if I will be admitted at the end of the day. So that's some of the introduction to code mail. So what are the strategy? How do you know that a particular professor has a funding? Or how do you know that a professor will admit you if you send a code mail to them? Or how do you know that the professor needs a student? Or maybe how do you know that there's funding in this professor's lab? The first one is obviously through advertisements. If they advertise that maybe they just win a grant, or maybe the professor is looking for students, or maybe the professor is a new professor, surely that professor is willing and open to admit students. So it now depends that we be able to compete with other folks out there and see if you have the right profile for you to compete with them after sending code mailing to the professor. Another one is you'll be able to know if professors need students through their website. As I said earlier, from their website, you will see that, okay, we are recruiting students and then we're always open to admitting brilliant minds and stuff like that. These are the things that you will see. And that's why it's always good to try to do a thorough research to the professor's website when you are searching for professor of interest. And also, maybe there is an ongoing project in the lab. Maybe the professor, when you try to search for the professor's website, you notice that there is a particular project that they are working on. Maybe they are working on a grant. So if they are working on a grant, you notice, oh, this is a grant that these people are working on. I think they will have funding in this lab. So let me try my luck and try to send a code mail to the professor. And another way to know is what is the level of their graduate students. Maybe when you are trying to check through their website, you notice that some of their graduate students were admitted in 421 or for 2020. You notice that for 2020 to now is like 5 years. And that means probably most of their graduate students are almost ending their PhD. So it's an opportunity for you to know that. And you also see that maybe this professor has an active research funding that is working on. Then it is very, very easy for you to dictate that such professor will need students as soon as possible. Because if this current student left the lab, so no one is going to continue the work that they are doing. This is another very, very strategic way to know if a professor the professor may not even advertise anything, may not even say anything, but you're trying to check the profile of their graduate students in the lab, and you see that maybe some of them have spent 4 years, 5 years, or even 3.5 years in the lab. Surely, or maybe the lowest PhD student in their lab is like 3 years, 4 years, and so on and so forth. Surely you know that professor we actually need students. So it's an opportunity for you to see if you can shoot your shot and send the code mail to the professor. Another one is what is the duration of the active research grants with respect to the graduate student, as I have said. So that is, you see that they have an active research grant that with them, and then their graduate students is like in their fifth year. So it is it's correlated. So you know that there's a high chance that this professor will need a student because he needs some new fresh minds to come to the lab so that these guys that are already going out will train them and be able to impact some of the things that they are currently working on them before they finally graduated. So this is another strategic way to know if a professor actually will need a student or not. And the last one of the strategy that is not widely used, many people don't usually use it, but this time around people tend to start using it, is maybe reaching out to the graduate student of the professor for inquiries. So you can go on LinkedIn or through the university, the school website or the lab website, and you grab the email address or LinkedIn details of this graduate student that they have in the lab, and write a cold mail to the student themselves, or send a short message to them on LinkedIn, and ask them, make inquiries. Do you know whether your professor will be accepting students, or do you know whether your professor has an active research work that they are working on, so that I will be able to, maybe I can apply it to your lab. Those are some of the ways that we can we try to navigate our ways to know if there's a funding in the lab or if a professor is currently admitting students. So you should be using these strategies very well, because if you are sending message to the graduate student of a lab, know that for every 10 that you send, maybe one of them will reply to you. If one of them replies to you, it's a good one. So with that, you have a chances of sending code mail to professor. I think I did that during when I was searching for school. I sent mail to some Nigerians that we have abroad that I realized that what they are doing related to what I want to do. And I sent a message to some of them on LinkedIn as well that, Sister Tamedu, I actually, my research interest is kind of related to yours. I don't know if there's an opening in your lab. And the professor, and this sister actually dragged me to meet a professor, where I was able to conduct an interview with the professor. Unfortunately, it was not fruitful, but it's actually a trial, because if I didn't try to reach out to that graduate student in that lab, I will not have the opportunity to be able to be interviewed by the professor. So those are some of the ways how you can identify that the professor has funding, or if the professor will be accepted students. Now, so what are the general etiquettes? So the general etiquette of code mailing is that we should we should know that professor receive a lot of emails. So we should know this one is not a do or die affair. But they receive emails from students in the school, because there are some students that are on self-funding at the moment, that they are trying to transition to PhD, that they want to get PhD. So those ones even have higher chance, especially if those students are some of the students that are very good in the department. They have a higher chance of them being admitted to that lab than you. So know that there are a lot of mails that is entering into the professor's inbox. Another one is that you should avoid sending mails on weekends. These are some of the etiquettes. Don't send mail maybe late toward Friday or weekends or public holiday, or you're sending mail at night or toward weekend like Fridays. You want to send mails on Fridays. There is a high chance that maybe that mail may not be received, especially if it's toward the night. You always need to know the difference between your current time zone and the time zone of where you are sending the code mail to, and be able to identify, okay, will that be in the morning or will that be at night? So don't send mail at night, because there is high tendency that if you send mail during the weekends, your mail will be actually be overwhelmed with other mail that they have in their inbox. Another strategy is that you should try to send code mail in the morning or during break time. In the morning, maybe 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. That is when the professor is just coming to the lab, or he's just coming into his office, then opening his laptop. So if you send mail target that time, maybe 9 a.m., one of the things that once the professor opened the mail, the strategy behind this is that once the professor opened his laptop or his mail, one of the first things that he will receive will be your mail. So you just see prospective PhD student for 2026. Maybe with that, the professor will just say, let me quickly check this. So these are some of the things that you can do. Or maybe during break times, around 12 or 1 p.m., you want to send a code mail to the professor. Just schedule the mail to that time and then send me. Another thing is that don't choke professor with reminders. Don't because you send a code mail 2 days ago or 1 week ago, you quickly want to send a reminder. Professor, do you see my mail? Share it. Look it very well now. It's inside your inbox now. You are choking the professor with reminder. Don't do that. give professor 2 to 3 weeks. If no response, then send reminder after 2 to 3 weeks. There was a time I sent a code mail to professor, let's say in maybe 421, and the professor replied to me in 423. Imagine that kind of thing. So it can be crazy and it can be long as possible. Maybe the professor is just trying to search for, maybe he's in dire need of student at that time, and he just searching for his impulse. Which students around the world have sent a code mail to me, and it came across my code mail, and he just sent a associated mail to me that, am I still interested in PhD? And then I told him that I'm interested, I'm still interested in PhD, blah, blah, blah. And that professor sent tons of, in their lab, he sent some students to me to do some interview with me and the postdoctoral students in their lab. And then the professor gave me like 7 journal papers to read and then summarize, and a lot of crazy things. But let me say, fortunately for me, I got another offer, which was not stressful. That was why I didn't go with them. So just send the code mail and just show the professor with reminders. So give them some weeks, then send a code mail, a reminder. And if they did not respond to your reminder, just forget about them, and then I'll move on to the next professor. So avoid sending a generic email. This is let it be personalized. It's one of the most, another thing that a lot of mistake that a lot of us used to make. We tend to send generic emails. Let the email be personalized. Don't just send professor, just edit the name of the professor, and then you said, just sincerely, I'll be blah, blah, blah. No, don't do that. Don't go and copy the template that you are seeing online that are floating everywhere. The professor are used to this. I hope this email made you well. My name is Lagbaja. I am a Kineko. So how do I put it? A generic email will not actually fly. And it actually tends, it may actually tends you toward error. I remember when I was still there for grad school then for 2021 or for 2020, I made a blunder then I still used to send a generic email. I don't used to do any personalizing about the email I send. I just send email and then just put some of the things about my details. The only thing I need to change is the professor name. And there was a time I made a blunder. I sent a mail without editing the name of the professor that I have sent it to, a previous one that I have sent it to. I sent the same mail that I sent to Professor A to Professor B without changing the name of Professor A to Professor B. That kind of mistake is common when you are sending a generic mail. I said, dear Professor Lagbaja, and I want to send to Professor Tamedo. Second time, I said, dear Professor Lagbaja. It's automatically, I know that I will not receive a response for that professor. And I never send another code mail to that professor again in my life. So please avoid sending a generic mail to professors. Try to make it personalized. And how do you make it personalized? By trying to read what the professor are currently doing. Read their paper, at least one paper, read it. Once you read one of their paper that actually relates to what you have an idea of, then you'll be able to personalize the mail that you want to send to the professor. And always be careful of those pitfalls, of all those blunders that a lot of us used to make, like the one I made when I was still trying to search for grad school. So, and then another thing is that it's always advisable not to send mails to professors in the same department at the same time. Maybe you see Professor A, B, C. They are in the research group of maybe power and energy system, and then you try to send the same mail to the 3 of them or the 2 of them at the same period. That one is not advisable as well. What you can do is to send to A first, which is your top ranked professor. Send to him first, and if he did not reply, then after sending a reminder after 2 weeks, then you move on to the next professor in the department. So don't send it at the same time. Avoid what? Avoid that. And another thing that a lot of people used to make is sending code mail without subject. Send a code mail. How do you send a code mail to a professor and you did not put a subject, attach a subject to the code mail? It's very, very very, very bad. So don't send code mail without a subject, and don't send code mail without salutation. Salutation, dear Elu, dear Professor Lagbaja Arapalegongo, or dear Professor Tamedo. You should send either you use the last name or the full name. So don't here in the US, for instance, now it is common to use the last name, Professor Lagbaja, if that's the last name. But a lot of us don't know what their last name is. So it is advisable for you to just use the full name of that professor that you see in their lab. Dear Professor Lagbaja or something like that. So those are some of the things that that you have to be careful of when you are sending code mail. And the last one here is, there are a lot of them, but this is the last one I'm going to give us. Don't forget to attach all required documents. Thank God for email now. Email you used to remind you, once you put the terms, you can find below my attached document, I attached below. Once you put that term or that sentence there, and you want to try to send a mail, email or Google Mail or Outlook will actually remind you that there's an attachment that is required that you have not sent. But before, when all those things are not there, a lot of us used to just, once you send out mail, I've done that before, that I've sent a mail without attachment. So don't send mail without putting, you say, find below my CV and your transcript. And in actual saying, you didn't send anything, you didn't attach anything to the mail. So these are some of the pitfalls that a lot of us used to make when we are trying to send a code mail. So this moves us to a case study. So I'll be using one of the code mail that I sent before as a case study to guide us through this process. And then I will guide us how I break it down from section to section of the code mail, so that I will be able to see this is not a one-way traffic. This is not the best way to do it. As I've said earlier when I started this conversation, that there's no one-way fit all to when it comes to code mailing. So there is different approaches to it. So the most important thing is that just justify what you are sending and know that what you are sending, you are comfortable with it. And then send it with a hope. And you continue sending until you get your reply. So don't give up until the yes actually comes in. I remember the last time I got admission, I remember that was the best year that I had very good responses. I have up to like I think 5 responses in that admission window, which is very, very common when it comes to electrical engineering and some engineering field. So you will see a lot of people sending code mail. Maybe it's only one that they will receive reply from. And that one is, I'm sorry, I'm not admitting students. I'm sorry, I don't have funding at the moment. I'm sorry, my lab is full. All those kind of stuff. So, but at that time, I actually received like 5 different responses from professor. And these are the template that I used that time as well. And this is not the best templates. There are a lot of templates. There are a lot of ways to go about writing code mail. Just know that you know what you want to do, and what you are writing actually makes sense, and you follow the approach that you think you are comfortable with. Now, when you are writing a code mail, as I have said earlier from the previous slide, that one of the most important things is the subject. Don't forget to have the subject, especially if it's an advertised role. Some professor used to give the types of subjects that is expected of you to send, and that's why so following instruction when it comes to that is key. Professor will give you the exact template of subject that it is expected for you to, and the reason why they are doing that is that they don't want to miss any what's it called, any email regarding to that advertisement. So subject is very, very important. So there are a lot of subjects. Prospective PhD student in power system computational lab. Power system computational lab is the lab of that professor. So I had that, and I put in the fall for 2020X. I put it there. And as simple as that. Or prospective PhD student interested in power system computational lab. You want to make sure that your subject is concise and what's it called, and detailed. not too much. It's concise and is reasonable, so that they'll be able to see it and grab it at one go without trying to swipe right or swipe left to ensure that they read the full subject of your mail. So, as I have said the other time, the second aspect, which is the first aspect, after the subject, your salutation to is also very, very important. Dear Dr. Lagbaja, I'm assuming here that Lagbaja is the last name of the professor. And this is some of the mistakes that a lot of us used to make. Our last name is our surname. Our last name is our surname. A lot of us don't know. Our last name is our surname, and our first name is our own name, the name our parents named us. So our last name is our surname. So you are referring to that professor with his surname. So if you know the professor's surname, then it's fine. Depending on the country you are sending the mail to, the country also differs as well. Maybe what is common in other countries is that they address their professor with their first name. But in the US, what is common is that you address them with what? With the last name. So dear Dr. Lagbaja. Or if you don't know which of them is their last name, then you combine all the full name you see on their website or online. Dear Professor Tamedu. Lagbaja. So that meaning that Tamedo maybe is the professor's first name and Lagbaja is the professor's last name. So it is very important to be watchful of this. Some of them take offenses from that if you just call them maybe with their first name. So I don't know why it is like that. So, but try to stick to what is common in that specific location or a specific country that you want to send a code mail to a professor to. And another thing that I forgot to highlight was that when you're sending a code mail, try to look at the professor website. There are sometimes that the professor gives some specific instruction on their website on how you will send a code mail. I've seen a professor before that puts like a tricky comment on his website, meaning that he's trying to, once you put that comment in your mail, maybe if the professor have opening, there's a high chance that professor will respond to you or will read your mail. But if that comment is not there, the professor would never open that mail. The professor said that distinctively on his website that if this thing is not on your code mail, so meaning that it boils down to you doing some background check of the professor for you to be able to identify that particular terms that the professor said. Maybe some professor said put $ at the subject, for instance. There are some crazy professor that will do that as well. Put $ at the subject. That's what that $ is the key. If you just send the subject and you did not put that $ in the respective position that I expected to put the $, then your code mail will not fly. They will not even read it. They may read it and not reply if you put the $. But if there is opening and they are still trying to interview students, surely with that instruction that you follow strictly, the professor will definitely respond to your mail. So there are some specific instructions that will be hidden in the professor's website that if you have not done your due diligence, if you have not done your background check on the professor, you'll not be able to find those specific details that is expected to be seen in your mail. Now, after you do the salutation, then you want to introduce yourself. You want to start with a good note. This is a common thing. I hope this email finds you well. My name is Lakashekwe Arakparigongon, and I hold a bachelor's degree in electrical and electronics engineering from Ajaokuta University, Agwewoye, Nigeria. So where I graduated you put all those things. These are some of the things that you want to use to, oh wow, this guy graduated as the best student in his department and is among the top 1% of his graduating class. That's fantastic. You want to start with a good note so that the professor will see that you don't want to bombard the professor. You want to make it short as this. Then you want to tell them the reason why you're sending the mail. I'm interested in joining the professor's lab and as a PhD student in the name of the department. I studied electrical and electronics engineering, but the name of the department is electrical engineering. It's it's different. You have to be watchful of this as well. Some department, their own department is electrical and computer engineering. Some of the department is chemical and biomedical bioresources engineering. Some department is agricultural and social engineering. Depending on the specific name they call the department in the university, you have to stick to it. This for 2020X. The second part, the approach I use for my whole code mail is I try to make the second part of my code mail to focus on the professor's work. So by this time, I have read one of the professor's journal. You don't need to read the complete paper. Maybe the abstract alone is enough. Read the abstract, just glance through the methodology, and then go and check the conclusion so that you'll be able to gather some points in what the professor do. You don't need to read a lot of all the journal, all the papers. Just read the abstracts, read some introductory parts, glance through the methodology, and then go back to the conclusion. Then you'll be able to develop some things that you are interested or that intrigue you about what the professor is doing in their lab. So I mentioned that I'm interested in the research they're doing in the lab and blah, blah, blah. And then, and I talked about the paper, what the paper does, how the paper relates to what they are doing in the lab, and how the paper is related to what I potentially want to do as a PhD student. So I did that as well, which I continue. And I even strike the professor by trying to rub his head more. I said, what particularly caught my attention was the innovative approach of combining blah, blah, blah. Even though at this time when I was sending this mail, I don't have 20% of the knowledge of this approach, of this journal. I don't have 20% of all this methodology that the professor stated there. I don't have 20% of this approach. I just said that it caught my attention. Not that I said I know about it. No, I just say it caught my attention. I was intrigued with the way the professor actually did that. So you want to show your curiosity, you want to show your fascination, you want to show how interested you are when you are sending the code mail. That's the first part. The second part, that you are showing the professor that you read your paper and I found something that interests me in your paper. And I'm thinking, he said, and I said, I am excited about the potential of contributing to similar innovative research work as a member of your research lab. So you've already rubbed the professor's head. If the professor takes his time to read this, you'll be so interested that, wow, this guy really rubbed my head very well. Then after I did that, I move on to the next part, which is where I talk about my experience. I try as much as possible that the experience I want to highlight is just one, and it's actually mimic what the paper I highlighted up there in one way or the other, using some terms, some regular terms. As you can see, we have IEEE 39 bus system here. I have IEEE 14 bus system network here. I'm trying to use some terms that goes in line with the paper I read about the professor. And that's why you have to select the paper you want to read very well. It has to be a paper that you have an idea or you have some experience in before you want to use it as a means of rubbing the professor's head. And the last part of the mail is that you want to tell the professor that you attach your CV, and then you want to remind the professor that you are open to interview if there is interview is available, and you thank the professor. And lastly, you give him closing remark, and then you put your full name here. And that is the breakdown of how to send the code mail. And this is from the example of what I did. One of the code mail that I sent to a professor when I was still searching for school. Mind you, this particular mail received a feedback from the professor, which I will actually show you a feedback, what the professor said about this mail after I sent the mail. Now, so what are the possible responses that you can see from the professor? As I've said from when we started this conversation, that you can receive very good mails, you can receive a very soothing mail, you can receive a lot of mails then, different types of mail. One can be harsh, another one can be very, very discouraging, and so on and so forth. Just ensure that the end goal is that you want to get a fully funded offer, then you keep on moving without giving up. And this is a response I received from one of the professors I sent a code mail to before. He said, "Hi, Arakpalegongon. Thanks for your email." He said, "Our research group is interviewing potential PhD students for this semester. If you are interested, please let me know as early as possible." Why would I be interested? I was one that sent a code mail to you in the first place. Why would I be interested in an interview? So I sent a response to the professor instantly. And one thing a lot of us used to be also familiar with is the aspect of how we respond to mail. We have to be very, very proactive when it comes to using our mail. When the professor sends a mail to you, you want to give the professor back to back instantly, so that the professor, you know that you are always active, even if you are sleeping. When you just wake up, maybe you wake up for Qiyamul or you wake up at the middle of the night and you saw the mail, try to respond instantly. So just to show that you are very, very active. So I sent a response to this professor, and this professor interviewed me, and then he asked me to resume. I think the interview was around October or November, and he asked me to resume in January, which I believe it won't be possible in Nigeria. And I told him that to secure dates and some other interview-related stuff, I don't think that would be possible for me to resume in spring. So unfortunately, that was why I didn't go with this professor. And aside from that, when I checked some of the review about this professor, I was not that fascinated about the review. And that was another reason why I did not go with this professor. But most importantly, it is because I already have an offer that is almost close to 90% then that they are going to send an admission to me. And that was why I was so confident to reject this particular offer after the interview. This is another response that you may see. This kind of response is soothing and comfortable. If you read the response, you will feel like, wow, this professor, thank God, I already secured a professor. And even the professor has even encouraged me to apply. He even send my details to another person so that they will be able to admit me. You'll be so confident. So let's read this response. It said, "Hello, Arapa. Thank you for your thoughtful email below. What an exceptional background. This is a comfortable response from a professor. I am forwarding your notes and resume to Mrs. Ali Bonds at this center, which is the admission coordinator. I will encourage you to apply." What kind of response are you expecting than this? Is that for this blah blah blah? And this particular admission coordinator can guide you on what the next steps are. So can you guess what happened to this email? After this comfortable email, after trying to apply, after everything, I did not receive a positive response from this school. I applied, I mentioned this professor name, and I did everything. But unfortunately, response was not given. I was at the end of the day served my hot cake love letter, which is a normal thing. So in grad school, love letter is one of the things that we have to be used to. It should be part of your life because it's normal thing. So we move on. We don't give up until we achieve what we actually wanted. So this response from this professor is so comfortable and is so give you a lot of confidence that you'll be admitted. But what happened at the end of the day? No admission. I was not admitted. I was just, although I moved to the second stage of the admission process where I was sent a mail that you move to new stage, blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, they sent a list of current active research to me that I should select research that I'm interested in this. And I realized that a lot of all the research, let me say 100% of the research, there's none of them that I can work with that relates to what I want to do at all. So, and this professor name was not even as part of those research, what's it called, principal investigator of those research. So, unfortunately, this hope was what was turned down, and I didn't receive any feedback after this response. Another response I received, another one said that this one is one of those one that I said. He said, this is when I said I sent a mail to a professor student, and the student dragged his professor to come and interview me, even though maybe the professor is not that interested. They interviewed me, and then the professor sent a mail to me for the interview. And after the interview, see this kind of response that you see here. This is one of those harsh response that you can receive. He said the mathematical and analytical preparation needs more maturity for PhD. This kind of response shocked me with my whole high level of mathematical and analytical preparation that I know by myself. And the professor is telling me that, hello, and the professor is telling me that I don't have much mathematical background. So it actually struck me, and he advised me to apply for masters, and I should know that there is no funding for this. So responses like that can actually waste on someone down. So I would just encourage you that if you receive this kind of response, don't give up, just continue moving on. Another response, the same admission window, this one said, thanks a lot for this info. I have filled all my position. Please feel free to contact other professor. This one is straight and live and direct, and then I don't expect any feedback from it. Another professor, this one was so detailed. He wrote a lot of things, and then at the end of the day, see what he said at just last paragraph. He said, also, since you do not currently have solid journal publication and your prior research does not meet our needs, it may be advantageous for you to apply for master in engineering. I want to do research. Why are you encouraging me to apply for master in engineering? Instead, it will give you a higher chance of getting admitted. And later on, you can actually transfer to research and demonstrate a good progress. So this is another response. And this is another good response. That professor that we use, this is a response from him, which is very, this is the one that made everything easy. So this professor actually encouraged me to apply to 2 schools at the same time. He encouraged me to apply to his school and also encouraged me to apply to the current school that I'm currently in, as you can see from here. So he said that I should apply to the 2 schools, that if A did not work, B will definitely work. This is the kind of professor response that give you like 100% confidence that this professor actually have your back. And then this professor that I was talking about, we actually been working together during my PhD, because I later moved on to this other university, which I'm currently at, and I was not even admitted at all in his own university. My admission was not even reviewed at all. My application was not even reviewed at all for this school. So that's that about that. And then that's everything about code mailing. And after you receive a response from the professor will advise you to apply, or they will invite you for an interview. Then you prepare yourself, and you'll be wishing yourself all the best. Prepare Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, make it easy for every one of us. Jazakumullah khairan. Thank you for listening to me. I don't know if any of us have any question. I don't know if you have any question. Okay. Shaib Bashir Bismillah, you can go ahead.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum
Thank
assalam wa
you very
rahmatullah.
much for your presentation. It was so insightful, sir. So I actually have a question, and the question was on the attachments. Is there a limit to the documents we can attach or the pattern of attaching it? For example, can we just merge our transcript, CV together if it was not stated that this is how we should attach it? And also, while if we happen to read a journal, for example, that the professor is, so is it necessary that the paper should be a recent paper? Because in a case whereby the professor did not have a recent paper that he is a first author in the journal, so how can we articulate that while trying to highlight something like provided that the professor is a co-author in the particular paper? Yeah, that's
Okay.
my questions. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah. For the first question, yeah, so there is no particular order to attaching your documents, and then it's advisable for you to attach your documents one after the other. Don't merge everything together, except if it is stated in the instruction given in the advertisement or the code mail or something. So don't match it together except if it is stated. And don't choke the professor with attachment as well. Just limit it to your CV and transcript alone. Don't put publication or other things, other certificates. Just limit it to your CV and transcript, at least for the first time. Let the professor himself respond to you with the mail and a request for another thing from you. So except if you see an advertisement and it is stated what is expected of you, maybe they're expected to attach your GRE, your TOEFL, and some other thing that a lot of people used to attach. I've done that before. There was time I've sent a code mail to professor where I attach up like 5 documents. No, so don't choke professor with documents and then don't make their inbox or their email inbox be loaded. So just limit it to just 2 documents. The CV, which is two pages max, as Alipatic said yesterday, or maybe worst case scenario, 3 pages. And then your transcript, undergraduate transcript. If you have a master's, attach your master's as well together. That would be a very, very limited document. As regards your second question, you said, how far can you go when it comes to trying to read the professor's journal? There's one thing I want you to note. In the US, or maybe in an advanced country, first author is not something that you have to be taking note of, because most professors here in the US, the owner of the lab are actually, most of the time, they are the last author of a paper. In most of the time, they are the last authors. So most of the people that you see are the first author, second author, they are like the student of the professor. So meaning that that work that you see that was published, it's actually the professor's work, it's the work coming from the professor's lab. So don't use the basis of the work, or maybe the professor is a second author or a co-author or the last author. Don't use it as a basis of not selecting a paper that the professor's name is on. So irrespective of whether the order of the professor arrangement, whether it's the first author or the last author, don't what? You can use it. That's the first thing. And second thing, always try as much as possible to limit you to 3 years before now, maybe the last 3 years. It's always advisable to limit to the last 3 years, because I know I've once sent a code note to a professor where the professor told me that he's no more doing the research that I highlighted, that he has moved on from that research. You know, professor, things change. For instance, in the US now, a lot of professors are changing their research area. Why? Because of the regulation, the US government regulation and a lot of things. So professors try to dance to the regulation and the current situation of things that is happening in the country that they are currently lecturing in. So if they are doing that, you are not expected to stick to previous year, 4 year ago, 5 year ago paper. Just try to limit it to maybe the last 2 years or 3 years, if possible, the current year that you are in. But if you cannot see, then you can just try to do that. So, but the aspect of co-author, that one does not exist yet. Use any paper you see professor's name, highlight it, and tell them that I saw your name in the ABC, ABCD, and so on and so forth. Allah. Now, I hope I answered your question. Sister,
Yeah, definitely.
Sister Latifa, you can go ahead.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Okay, yeah. So my first question is, when you were actually talking about code mailing, you're mentioning something related to asking them if there's actually like a space in their lab and something like that. So and I feel like those questions are more like tilted towards maybe the science courses or maybe engineering like you did. So I was asking that what is like, is there a different approach if you're actually studying like another particular course, maybe finance, where you don't necessarily need a lab or something like that?
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know who tell you that finance they don't need a lab. I want to believe I want to believe that each professor, that a research professor in a university, they have a lab. So a lab cannot just be a physical place that is open. Some professors at work, their work is computational, and then they have some students under them as well. And although it's not always advisable for you to be asking professor that, do you have space in your lab? That kind of question is always good to ask students in that professor's lab, students that are working with that professor. You get? So don't ask professor directly that, do you have space in your lab? It actually shows that you just want to, but just tell them that you're interested in working with them, and then you'll be interested if they can admit you as a PhD student to learn under them. So, and then just know that, what's it called? Lab is not must not just be a physical place that you have to have, what's it called, titration or anything. Like for instance, my own lab in my school is a computational lab. It's a power system computational lab, kind of. And then if you like, you come to the lab. We have an office space that was set up for us as a PhD students. We have our own offices. If you like, you come to the lab. If you like, don't come work at home. So our lab is computational. You can work anywhere. So depending on the kind of work you're doing, the sciences or maybe the chemistry or some other people that used to do physical research. So some of them need to have a lab where they will be conducting titration, doing all sorts of things. But there's always actually an offices for all PhD students that are on funding in the university. So you don't need to ask students, not professor. I hope I answered questions more.
Yes, Jazakumullah khairan.
But yeah. Uh, okay. Okay. There's a question here by Shukra. She said, I would like to ask if year of graduation can affect our application. For example, I graduated since sorry, I graduated since 2018 for BSc. What is my chance of getting scholarship admitted to graduate school? Yeah, you have a very good chance. If since 2018 you have not stopped what you are doing, maybe you just need to show that you can compete. The year of graduation does not affect anything. It doesn't. You want to show that you can compete, even though it's kind of very tough now, because the kind of profile that these guys that are just graduating are bringing, it's kind of intimidating. But in actual sense, it doesn't affect anything. Your graduation, I met a student, was it not? Yeah, in Nigerian, this week that we just in my school, she just joined this fall. She joined in August this year, and I think she's studying a PhD in economics. Yeah, Shatolu. So she was telling me that she graduated, I think, in 2017. Yeah, although she had a master's, but she graduated from 2017 and she's admitted to a PhD in economics here, doing economics. So year of graduation does not affect anything. And I can say that even her, maybe she don't even use a master's degree at all. So it doesn't affect you whether you graduated in 2015. You just know that you have the necessary profile to compete with other folks out there. Vietnam. Another question has from the bosses. It said, can you show us a sample of follow-up email you sent to professor? It will require some digging. Follow-up email is just a very simple, hello professor, is how do I do this? Okay, let me see if I can share my screen and see. Is not okay. Let me just respond anonymously. What's it called? It's a follow-up email is not something that is expansive, that is too much. It's just like 2 lines or 3 lines, telling the professor that you've already sent. Okay, let me do what I don't want to do before. Let me actually share my screen to show you an example of that. Sorry. just want to ensure that you understand what I'm trying to say. It's not a big deal at all. Mail. For Professor Wu. Just give me a moment. Let me just bring this out. Okay. Yeah, here we go. Let me just share this with you guys. Sorry, can you see my screen?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay. Okay. There is a mail I sent to this professor. Okay, so see this professor, for instance. The first thing, when you are sending a follow-up email, you need to edit the subject. You are sending it on the same trend that you use to send the previous mail, not a new email entirely. You use the same trend, that is, you just click reply. Then after you click reply, you want to edit the subject. As you can see, I had the term follow-up here. This editing. What I sent initially was this subject. This is what I sent before. And I edited it when I want to send a follow-up. I edit subject, I put follow-up. Then I send this. This is everything I send about. I don't know whether you guys can see it. I said that I hope this email finds you well. I want to follow up on the message I sent earlier regarding the possibility of working with you in the area of power system dynamics, control stability, and the impact of renewable energy integration. I understand that you are likely very busy, and I wanted to confirm whether you had a chance to review my previous email. If you have any question or require additional information, please feel free to let me know. The research activities in your group continue to inspire me, and I am eager to explore potential collaboration opportunity. Can you see it's very, very succinct and very, very straightforward. Please let me know if you will be available for a brief meeting or a call at your convenience. Thank you for your time. Can you see it's straightforward, no any specific details. You just want to tell the professor that this is, you send a mail before and then you want a reply from the professor. You understand? So as you can see, I sent the first mail on September 18, which is there. And I sent a follow-up email on the 3rd of October. That means that's like 2 weeks, like 15 days that I used to send a follow-up. So don't choke, professor. And the professor replied me. I think he replied me. He said, can you see? He said, thank you for your quick, can you see? I think he replied me that he is currently interviewing students at the moment, that he don't know if I will be interested. He was the one that said, he don't know if I will be interested. I see. He said, our research group is interviewing potential PhD candidates for this spring. He said, if you are interested, please let me know as early as possible. Why would I be interested in the first place? And then I made sure my response was prompt, and then as soon as I saw it, I responded. So I said, thank you, I'm available. And the guy said, thank you for your quick response. And then we had an interview. And at the end of it, he said I should resume in spring. And I said I won't be resuming. And then that's how every one of us move on our different ways. I hope that clarified that, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, the brother has a question. I hope it clarified that. And another question, another person asked that how do we go about sending email and application in general when you don't have a published paper or proof of your research capacity? You're a graduate. Who is this person? Muhammad Mukhtar Ibrahim. Firstly, know that you are a graduate. In Nigerian of today, there is no way you graduate from Nigerian school without having some research experience. It's only if you have not identified the capacity that Allah has bestowed upon you. So you have a final year project that you do. Find a way to tailor it and understand it very well. That is a research experience. Although it's always an edge to have a publication, talk to your professor. Even at your final year project, you can work with your professor, your undergraduate lecturer, and then you talk to him or her that you want to publish the paper that you work. Maybe they can guide you or meet people, get some collaboration. I have a friend that he graduated in 2018, and then he applied for 424 as well. And the guy the guy tried to mingle with some friends, generally, some friends from one place to another. And then he got like 2 publications out there through that, through collaborating with friends. Just put my name now, me too, I will edit the Word document now, make I edit Word document now. He did that, and then his name was in publication. I can tell you, the guy studied chemical engineering, and he's not even a first-class student. I think he had 4.12 or 4.13 or thereabouts. And my friend had 4 fully funded offers. That's why I said there was a time I was replying to some people in the group that chemical engineering have a lot of funding. Just try to identify schools. The guy had 4 fully funded offers without sending a code to a single professor. So he was so determined that he wanted to try publication. And he was not a first author in any of those publications. He just mingled with friends and then talked to friends, and then they added his name to the publication, and they published a paper, 2 papers precisely. One was ready doing its application, and the other one was not ready. You just put it as, and they use it. So you can try as well. Just strive to get something and then know it very well. Then use it as a platform or basis of your application as well. So I think that's to clarify the question that you asked. So you have proof. The proof is your undergraduate project that you do, undergraduate research work that you do. It's a proof. And then you can try to do another by collaborating with people online or generally, or friends of yours. Another question from there is that, please, sir, how important is our research background when applying for grad school? I mean, can I have a research experience in field X and apply for a PhD role in field? That one is very, very tough because PhD is strictly research-based program. You can't have a research experience in X. Why can't you find professors that are working on that X, the X that you have research experience in? You know about research experience, so it may be a project that you've done. Even if that Y that you want to apply to now for PhD, you have some project-based experience, not ordinary research. You do some project, maybe for instance, I studied electrical engineering, and then I was admitted to a PhD program in data science and engineering. Yeah, because I have some background. I don't have any publication related to pure data science, although my undergraduate research work was kind of, I used artificial intelligence for energy demand forecasting. But I applied to data science and engineering PhD, and I was admitted using all the research projects I've done with my machine learning, all this Coursera, all this project that I've done before. I just tried to tweak it and expand it and ensure that what I was saying, I was not lying, but I make the value of what I did shows up. A lot of us used to say that we don't have experience in A or we don't have experience in B, but in actual sense, we have those experience, but we have not been able to know how we want to relate those experience with the current situation. So know those things, the way that you want to go. Maybe you have some work-based experience. Maybe you have some project-based experience, not specifically research or related to publication experience. If that is what you have, then you can use it as a platform to show that you have some experience in this area. And then another thing is that why not stick to the one you have experience in? Let's say you have research experience in that X that you said, so that it will give you more leverage to be able to talk and be confident when you are talking. So I think that's the advice I will give that brother. And the other person asked here, he said, I will have to ask if we need any recommendation letter for Code. I know, Abana. You don't need recommendation letter for Code Mail. You only need your good code mail. Code mailing is you are toasting someone out. You used to talk to your friends. You used to talk to for those of you that are married, you used to talk to your husband how to collect money from her. And for those of us that are young guys, we know the way we used to talk to people, to just want people to think from our own point of view. You don't need any recommendation at all. The way guy do now, the way we do to sisters, and then the way brothers do to brothers to collect money from your friends. You guess you are not Yahoo, but the way you toast people, that's what code mailing is. We are trying to toast the professor to let them reason along from your point of view. So that's actually what you don't need any recommendation letter. And again, for this question system that has this question about recommendation letter, this recommendation letter is the most important thing in graduate school that you don't have control over. That means try as much as possible to have a very good relationship with your professor, your lecturers in school. Sorry, I'm using professor too much because professor in the US here, you don't need to be an actual professor to be called professor. So anybody that is teaching in school, we call them professor here. Either it is assistant professor, associate professor, or tenure professor, we call them professor. So your lecturer in school, whether he's not yet a professor, he's a doctor. So that professor, try to build a very strong relationship with them because That recommendation letter is one of the most important things. Even though you don't need it for cold mailing, you need recommendation letter for all your application. Please build a very good relationship with them. And the last question from Sister Aziza, she said, thank you for your presentation. Please, I'd like to ask if one can attach a notification of results if one does not have transcript available in the case of one with the MSc degree applying for doctoral position. No, it's enough for you to attach your undergraduate transcripts and then say you can attach it, just attach that your MSc and merge your MSc notification of results with your transcript. But in these days now, many schools are advanced to the extent that you have access to your result, statement of results online. You don't need a official transcript. That result that you have access on your school portal, you can screenshot and then make it to a PDF and attach it to your undergraduate transcript. It's something, once it has a description of the course and the grade you have, with maybe the scores and the grade, it's enough. It's not compulsory. That's why it's called an unofficial transcript that you are sending. So once it has those things and it has your full GP at the end of the day, you can download that from your student portal. So most schools are advanced now. They are actually doing that. But if you don't actually have even that as well, then you can use the statement of what do you call it? The statement of results that you want to use. But if that's the case, don't attach the result as a single attachment. Merge it with your undergraduate transcripts so that the professor, once he's reading your undergraduate transcript, you will see it at the last bottom of it that you have an MSc, and put that MSc of your thing, put it as part of your description. Oh, I am so. I graduated. I finished my MS. I had my MSc in University of Ibadan, where I graduated with a PhD level result and so on and so forth. And then you do all those kind of stuff. So I think I'm clear with that. I don't know if you have further question. So in the absence of none, I wish you guys all the best. And then I believe it's not over until it is over, because if you don't give up, you actually achieve the best. So my graduate school journey started since 2020, and I got my admission in 2024. So you see that it's crazy, right? So, and it's a year of consistency. Another advice I will give you guys is that don't pause your career because of grad school. Apply for competitive job opportunity. I actually worked when I was in Nigeria. I work with a multinational company. So at least I am comfortable then, but even though I still want grad school. So don't pause your career because of grad school and say you see graduate training from oil and gas, you see graduate training from a multinational company and you did not apply. Please don't stop applying to opportunities. Do everything concurrently. Remember, I can say, you may say you start graduate school this year, and Allah said that you won't start this year until the next 5 years, just like me. So continue, please continue trying and don't give up. Don't give up. Believe me, one day, Allah will always support those that continuously improve themselves and continuously try to make everything comes out well. So it's not over until you get your 1 year. So when I got my 1 year, I've received a lot of admission during those years without funding, PhD admission, master's admission without funding. But in actual sense, at the end of the day, the 1 year's come. Even that year, I had up like 4 different offers the last year. So meaning that Allah is telling me that I was actually not ready. It's not yet time for me to get admission in those time that I didn't get it. So I got 4 admission. Electrical engineering can be competitive and it can be discouraging. And then, so that's about that. You guys should work with your mentors and ensure you ask questions. You won't be able to do all these things alone. So I pray Allah Azza wa Jal make it easy for every one of us. So I wish us all the best. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Oh, sorry, brother has a question. I don't know. You just do mashallah, you pray to Allah, you continue striving. It has been reduced drastically, but I believe some people are still getting it. So I told you of situation of someone that studied economics that comes. A lot of people comes in fall this year as well. So I know of a couple of friends and 2, 3, 4 people that comes in. So just continue striving and pray to Allah, and Allah Azza wa Jalla will definitely grant you success at the time.